People. Oh, y'all hear my voice. The last time I did one of these, I was sick. And this time, I'm not really sick, but if you live in the South, you know, the weather is doing like that back and forth change, and my body don't like that at all. So today I am pulling up because we're gonna do another reading vlog. I haven't done one in a couple of months, and I wanted to do another one for the month. I feel like I might post these like monthly. I wanted to do them like bi-weekly, but I've been trying to figure my schedule out. The job stuff has been really weird. I'm being transferred to a different school and so I'm waiting for all of that to be finalized. So I figured I would use that additional time to give extras to the channel. So today, right now, I'm currently waiting for my breakfast to finish in the oven. I did a little eggs in purgatory. So yummy and satisfying. But you don't have to do a lot. It's just putting shit in a little ramekin and putting it in the oven. So I have that going, and I'm working on my first cup of coffee. I wanted to do kind of like an end of summer reading vlog situation. Kind of going through and working on some of the books that I wanted to tackle this summer, but just didn't get around to. Last month August was definitely not, it wasn't a bad month. Like, I've read really good books, but I think after I read The Ritual at the end of July, it just kind of put me in a slump. And then of course, like, there were some other things going on. I've been helping to set up my mom's classroom and trying to get everything organized with my job. And so that took away from my focus when it came to reading. So I wanted to work on some of the books that were very much like summer vibes, summer feels, and then start one that's going to get me more into spooky season. Let's go over what I have this time. Check the stack. I love a good stack. I feel like this looks pretty summery with the exception of this one, which if you've read that book, you know why. So I have 3 that I'm currently reading that I want to try to finish this week. This vlog is going to be over like the next few days, so it won't just be today. But I'm going to try to finish up as much as I can. The first one is King of Greed by Huang. There we go. This is second chance romance, focusing on our characters Dominic and Alessandra. We met them in the 2 previous books. Dominic is kind of like a rags to riches billionaire. Alessandra came from money, but she's never really cared about that. They have been in love with each other since college, but after they got married and his businesses really hit it off, he just kind of stopped participating in the relationship. And when we're introduced to these 2 at the beginning of the book, we're coming up on their 10th anniversary, and he forgets. And Alessandra says, I knew I was close to my limit, but I finally hit it. And she gets up and she leaves him, leaves the ring on the table and goes about her business. And Dominic is trying with everything in him to get her back. So far, this has been really good. The only reason I hadn't finished it was because it fell behind some furniture and I didn't feel like getting it. And I just finally like got my ass up last night and was like, let me get this book so I can finish it. So that's what we have. King of Greed, my summer girl. Y'all, this has been so good. We're getting the whole damn polycule. These books from Maeve Black follow a family of cupids. So Dulce is our girl in this book. She is she's the epicenter of everything, right? She has been watching her other siblings find their mates and fall in love. The first book was Zoe's book. We have Zoe and Arson, who is a dragon. And then the second book is Valentine, and Pyro. So we have the first two are Cupid and Dragon. This one, we're actually exploring outside of the two Cupid and then Dragon families. And so we have Dulce. She has kind of been like, she is the big sister, good girl. Like, she's always on her P's and Q's. She's one of the best Cupids that they have. And she's always been focused on her work and never focused on herself. And so she's been watching her siblings find love, even though they've been told like their entire lives that like Cupids are supposed to give love, but they don't get it. Like, that's not something they get. They mate as part of like a partnership, but they don't mate for love, which to her, she's like, it makes no sense. And it doesn't make sense. And she's like, well, I want love. And so she comes to this decision that she is going to create a fuck it list where she's going to quit her job for the summer and she's just going to do all the things that she's wanted to do. And one of the biggest things on her list is to find love. And each of these characters plays a big role in that. So we have Vex, who is our demisexual Saphin, which is kind of like a vampire situation. We met Vex in Val and Pyro's book. They run a kink club that's very exclusive and open to the monster community. So kind of monsters from all different realms will show up at Vex's to have those specific experiences. And it has kind of been revered as a place that not only is somewhere that they can let go, but a lot of people have found their fated mates there. And Vex and Dulce have kind of had a little thingy thing going on for a while. Vex is Dulce's sub, but it's never been sexual. They come in, they do their little thing, and they go about their business, and they maintain their friendship. But Dulce has always wanted a relationship with Vex. She has always wanted something sexual. She has always felt this deeper pull to Vex. But Vex has always been afraid to give in because once a bond is created between a Saphin and another creature, like, that's it. Like, they're mated for life. They're mated for eternity. And that's a very big commitment. But once Dulce decides that she is not giving up on this idea of love, she's like, I want you, I'm going to have you, take me. So Vex takes her. And then we have these two, Vera and Rayvar. So Vera is the queen of Solera. Which is basically a summer realm. So it's kind of like a summer court situation. And Rayvar is her Arukna hand. So he is the hand to the queen, Vera. Vera is also kind of in a similar place as Dulce. She has dedicated her life, her very long life, to her people. And in that, she kind of gave up on finding love, but she has also been hearing about Vex and how people have been going to their place and finding their mates. So she tells Rayvar, look, I want my mate, like, I want my fate, like, I want my person. And she sends Rayvar to go find her mate, okay? Rayvar is kind of feeling put out already because he has loved her since they were children. They have this bond. They have been bonded together for years, but they've always kept it platonic. And he has wanted her as a mate, but she just hasn't seen it. Like, she ain't all the way there. So Rayvar goes and finds a way to get into Vex's via Dulce. But Dulce ends up being the eye of Rayvar's affection. Because Dulce is not just Vex's mate. She's also Rayvar's fated mate. And she is a mate to Vera. And so Rayvar just up and kidnaps Dulce and takes her back to Solera so that he can take her to his queen. But Rayvar makes sure that he has his good old time with Dulce before that happens. I love this because even though, like, obviously it is a monster romance situation, one, I love that Maeve Black does monster romance between monsters and not just monsters and people, right? But But I also love the way that this poly romance is set up, because you see the jealousy, you see the fear. It's not just all of these people just falling into place perfectly, you know? Like, we get all of the messiness with all of the cuteness and all of the spiciness. So I have been loving this book. I think I'm going to work on that while I'm eating breakfast. So the next book is A Dish Best Served Hot by Natalie Caña. This is the second book in the Vega family series. The first book I talked about in the last book in breakfast, A Proposal They Can't Refuse. That was also kind of like a forced proximity proposal of convenience situation, but also kind of like a second chance romance situation. This is also a second chance romance situation too. The first little bits that I've read of it, I've only read the prologue and like the first 2 chapters, and so far I like it. And I love that we're getting the grandparents in this again. I love that the elders play such a big role in how this series goes and the full trajectory of it, because they're just over there in their little nursing home playing matchmaker, and I love it. And then one that I want to start this week, we have Untouchable by Shon. I've had this on my shelf for a minute and I just haven't gotten to it. I met the love of my life when I was 10 years old. Ever since Tallulah Evans walked up to me with her gap-toothed smile and told me her name means princess, I've been entranced. For the last 20 years, we've been there throughout each other's dorms. And somewhere along the line, I fell in love, deep in love. There is nothing I wouldn't do for her, which is how I found myself caught up in agreeing to be her friend with benefits, knowing I want more, needed more. The problem is, Tallulah isn't looking for more. And I get that. She's been burned more than once and isn't trying to repeat the cycle. But it's becoming harder to compartmentalize my feelings for her when all I want is everything when it comes to her. So, friends to lovers. I don't read a lot of friends to lovers. It's not my favorite trope because I feel like a lot of people don't do it well, but I feel like Shon will do it well. We also have the last book, The Coven by Harper L. Woods. I picked this up at the library the other day, and it is one of those that I can only check it out once. So I wanted to go ahead and start working on it. This is, it's vampires and witches, okay? Raised to be my father's weapon against the Coven that took away his sister and his birthright, I would do anything to protect my younger brother from suffering the same fate. My duty forces me to the secret town of Crystal Hollow and the prestigious Hollows Grove University, where the best and brightest of my kind learn to practice their magic free from human judgment. There are no whispered words here, no condemnation for the blood that flows through my veins. The animosity I face comes from the beautiful and infuriating headmaster, Alaric Grayson Thorne, a man who despises me just as much as I loathe him and everything he stands for. But that doesn't mean secrets don't threaten to tear the school in two. No one talks about the bloody massacre that forced it to close decades prior. Only the opportunity it can afford to those fortunate enough to attend. Because for the first time in 50 years, the Coven will open its wards to the 13. 13 promising students destined to change the world. If the ghosts of Hollows Grove victims don't kill them first. Y'all, this sounded so good. It's giving vampire, it's giving witch, it's giving kind of like secret society, it's giving dark, spooky season. So I figured this would be a great way to kind of end this off, transitioning from summer and going into spooky season reads. So I'm hyped to get into this. Okay, so I'm going to go sit down and I'm going to work on, I think I'm going to start with my Summer Girl because I am just like I'm deeply entranced in this story. We'll work on that for a little bit, and then I think I'm gonna move on to King of Greed after that. People were coming home. I was checking in, making sure everything was good for dinner, all of that. So didn't get to do as much work as I wanted to on this, even though the chapters are super short, so making headway is it's really not that hard. I'm on page 225, so I'm gonna see how far I can get into this tonight. I don't think I'll finish it, but then I could be wrong because these are bonus. Oh yeah, a lot of these are bonus excerpts. So I have literally 100 pages left. I don't know if I'll finish it tonight, but I think I can get pretty close. That leaves me with exactly 100 pages of King of Greed and 100 pages to work on in my Summer Girl. And I feel like I can have both of these books done tomorrow, so that I can go ahead and move on with the rest of the TBR. So let's do it. So I got through about 50 pages, so about halfway through the end of the book. Not bad at all. I was kind of like starting to fall asleep, so I figured I should go ahead and get into bed. I have 10 chapters and the epilogue left, so I'm definitely going to work on finishing this in the morning. I really enjoy this book. It's just not as eventful as I thought it would be. But I feel like there are some aspects of Dominic as a character that I don't think a lot of people appreciated. I saw a lot of people that weren't the biggest fans of this book, and I think a lot of it is just a lot of people are not fans of Second Chance. I love Second Chance romance, and maybe it's because I'm in my own Second Chance romance. I don't know, but I am a big fan of Second Chance, so I'm enjoying it so far. I think that I actually miss a little bit of seeing Alessandra actually out and doing the growth part of it. We're told about it, but we don't necessarily see it. And I think that's like a little bit of the disconnect for me. So I'll probably pick up on this in the morning. I know that I do have like a few things to take care of. I have some meetings that I have to hop into for my job tomorrow. But the rest of the day, I will probably just spend resting and all of that because I haven't really been feeling the best. And I kind of want to take some time just to rest and read and recover before I have to go back into the building in a couple of weeks. So we'll stop here. I'm going to finish this in the morning, and then I'm also going to continue on with my Summer Girl because I adore this book so much. So far, so good. Day one of the reading vlog. We've got some bangers, and then I'm thinking once we finish these tomorrow, we can go ahead and start working on the rest. Good afternoon. Yes, afternoon, not morning, because look, when I'm at home getting stuff done, I don't do early mornings. I don't. I'm just sitting down getting ready for a meeting, but wanted to come in and do like a quick reading update. I actually spent most of my morning working on my arc of Reclaim Me by J.L. Seegars. That is book 4 in the New Haven series. It just dropped last Friday on the 31st. So, well, the 30th. Was Friday the 30th or the 31st? No, it dropped Saturday on the 31st. See, there we go. Have my days mixed up. So I'm working on that. I wanted to have it done before the release date, but I just had too much going on with work and with this switch in schools and everything. So I didn't really have a lot of time to read when I received the arc. So I'm like 50% through that. I adore it. I think I might... Ray and Hunter might be contending with Dominic and Sloan. And y'all know I love Dominic and Sloan down bad. Okay? I love me some Dominic. But JL Seegars is like the second chance romance queen. Like, she does it right. She gives you the details. Like, she gets nitty gritty. She gives you all the feels and breaks your heart. This one is about Ray and Hunter. They have a kind of like really tender and traumatic past. Ray was the person who pulled him up out of attempting suicide. And after that moment, they became best friends. He knew her brother, given that his brother was their leader at Narcotics Anonymous. So one night he's trying to call her brother, but her brother's in the hospital and she answers the phone. And he basically admits that he was calling him to say goodbye. And she just does what she can think of to try to get the man from jumping off a building. And then the rest is history with them until he has a relapse that destroys any foundation of their relationship. And she runs off. And the pinnacle of the book comes about 10 years later. And Ray is in a relationship with someone who wants her to settle down and wants to get married and all of these different things, but she doesn't feel that like eternal soul bond with him. You know, he has a mother who babies him and he spoils her and allows her to get in the middle of their relationship. And Ray also has a little girl named Riley. And she's not Aaron's. Yeah, we got secret baby up in here. So it was really, really good. Well, has been really, really good so far. I think I'm kind of starting to reach into the things that happened in the past and what things took place that made Ray choose to run off and start a life elsewhere after she found out that she was pregnant. So I love it. Like Hunter, I already knew that I loved Hunter. If you have read the first two books in the series, Restore Me and Revive Me, we meet Hunter in Revive Me, which is Mal and Chris's book. Mal has a history with sexual assault, and so she starts taking self-defense classes, and Hunter is the person who owns the gym and is her trainer in those self-defense classes. So we get to meet him a little bit in those books, and he becomes like a really important person in Mal's journey. And so we already kind of have this like really soft connection with him because we see how he really just boosts her up and helps her with her confidence and helps her in feeling safe and secure without having to have anybody show up for her, you know? So I already had a soft place in my heart for Hunter. So when I found out that Hunter was getting his own book, I was so excited. So that has been really good. I'm almost finished with King of Greed. I have about like 5 chapters left. So far, like, this has been really good. But like I said, like, I do have those things about the book that, you know, here we go. So I'm just gonna sit down and work on that while I wait for us to start the Zoom meeting. And then we'll come back. I'm gonna heat up some lunch, and then we will continue on with our reading vlog. a good time. I feel like while I do have some criticisms, you know, it's reading. I kind of feel like this book is underappreciated in the Kings of Sin series. And I think I might do a full review on it because there were parts of this book that I deeply appreciated. I think that the elements having to do with Dominic's brother, although they weren't this crazy action-packed thing that you thought that they would be, I think that they served their purpose. And the purpose wasn't to add this darker element the way that she did with Twisted Love. You know, like Alex and Ava's story, like that shit got dark, right? I don't think that that was the intent. I think that the situation with Dominic and his foster brother perfectly opened up an opportunity for Dominic to choose between his money and his life and the person that he loves. And I think that was so perfectly executed in this book. I think sometimes we see certain elements and we have this certain like grand expectation from them, but I don't necessarily think that that's what Anna was trying to give with this, if that makes sense. I had a really good time with this book. It was good. I love Anna Huang. I feel like she's one of those writers that like when I pick up a book, I know it's going to be good. Like I know I'm going to have a vibe with it. If you enjoy any type of billionaire, like Delulu, male main character situation, I think that you will enjoy both the Twisted series as well as the Kings of Sin series. The Kings of Sin series does kind of happen. It happens in the same world as the Twisted characters, so we do get cameos. If you've read all the way up to the final book in the Twisted series, and you know Christian Harper is in every book. Christian Harper is everywhere. That man... Look, I'm a Christian Harper stan, okay? I love him. He's one of my favorite book boyfriends. I love me some Christian Harper. So he pops up in every single book. I tell people all the time, like, if the other books in the Twisted series don't necessarily sound like your cup of tea, read Twisted Lies, because that book connects to every single other book in that series and still kind of connects to some of the things that happen in the Kings of Sin world. So if you just want the rundown, but you don't want to have to read everything, just read Christian and Stella's book, because Christian is up in everybody's business. I do have King of Sloth, so I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and start that. I kind of want to. I might start that later on after this vlog is done. But I'm going to go ahead and finish my last bowl of soup. I made homemade chicken and gnocchi soup last night, and it was divine. I'll have to share that with you guys. I don't know if I want to do like a fall vlog on the main channel and share that there, or share it with you guys here. I don't know. Y'all will see it somewhere. But I'm going to go ahead and work on my summer girl, because I am ready to get into... Look, everybody's accepting everything, okay? Where I stopped yesterday, Vera and Rayvar finally had their little come to Jesus meeting, and she sat on his face. It was great. So it looks like pretty soon we're going to have everybody together. We still need to have Vera and Dulce have their little moment, because right now Vera is kind of like afraid that Dulce won't want her. Meanwhile, Dulce is like, where my girl at? Where's she at? Bring her. She trying to get her queen, okay? So I love this book. I love this book. I think this is my favorite Maeve Black book so far. I'm excited. There's 2 more coming out this year. We're getting Di's book. Dionysus is Dulce's twin. And then we're also getting, what is his name? Cinder. There we go. Cinder. We get Cinder's book in October, which is going to be Halloween themed. All of these are themed around some type of holiday. And then we're getting Di's book at the end of the year. I think it comes out in December. That one is going to be New Year's Eve themed. So I'm excited because I adore these characters so much. I'm curious to see where Maeve Black will go from here once everything with both of the families is kind of tied up, where like if we'll stay in the world and just explore other characters. I'm really curious to see where we go with that. There's so many ways that she could go. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna finish this and then I'm gonna go back into the living room and get cozy, and we gonna keep reading. What's up, y'all? So this reading vlog is just not going to plan. I'm just gonna sit down and talk to you guys about what I've finished so far, and where I'm at with this week's reading goal. This migraine has like literally been killing me. It has been awful. So I've kind of been like cluster reading because I'll basically like be good for a little bit and then the migraine will come back. So I've kind of I've been able to read. Like my vision hasn't been affected too bad, but it's just painful to like sit up sometimes. And it's kind of been like read for a little bit and then cut my book light off and sit in the dark. That's kind of what it's been like these last few days. So I did finish My Summer Girl. Y'all, I adore that book. I don't know, like I've read a lot of really great things this year, but that one just gave me feels in a totally different way. I absolutely adored it. You guys know I love why choose and poly romance anyway. So this is literally right up my alley, regardless. But the way that Maeve Black does romance and all of the emotions and all of the feels, and it was beautiful. Absolutely stunning. I adored every single character as they were. There's not a single unlikable character in this lineup. I cannot suggest that book enough. It was obviously a 5-star, but if I could give it more than 5 stars, I would. On top of finishing My Summer Girl, I did finish my arc of Reclaim Me. I need to try to get some level of comfort so I can get online and do my reviews. That was absolutely 100% a 5-star read. Honestly, I would give it more again if I could. I have seen a lot of criticisms so far, just in kind of looking at reviews and people who have also arc read it and were able to get their reviews up before the release. It's like 50-50. A lot of people feel like the book is perfect, and then a lot of people feel like the end of the book was rushed, and I understand why they feel that way, but I am actually in the group of people who think that it ended and was mapped out perfectly. I say this because in Ray and Hunter's journey, and it's actually interesting, I think I'm going to talk about this more at the end of the vlog, but I feel like what I wanted from Alessandra and King of Greed was not necessary for Ray in the closing of the book. I don't think that it needed to be multiple parts the way that Revive Me was. Revive Me was very clearly split up into 3 books for a reason. There was no way that we would be able to grasp the intensity of everything that was going on had that just been one book. But I don't feel like Reclaim Me needed that. I really don't. But that was so good. It was such a good book. If you love J.L. Seegars, you're going to love Ray and Hunter's story. I need to go back and work on Release Me. So that's 3 out of 6 now. I am currently working on, is it Unbreakable or Untouchable? I think it's Untouchable by Shon. And I'm like thoroughly entertained, but I'm not like head over heels for the characters. And so I don't know, like, I don't dislike Tallulah as a character. I just think that this is kind of like the types of situations that I struggle with friends to lovers, right? Because there's always someone who is either being deceptive and having feelings for the other person, or it's the other person who knows full well that that person has feelings for them, but they, you know, just full on ignore it and kind of gaslight them about it. And it's like, I get that Pierre is like a consenting adult, right? Like, he is choosing to be in this situation. But as someone who is supposed to be your friend first, Tallulah should also have the respect and the boundary to say, hey, I know that you love me and I'm not in a place to reciprocate, so this needs to stop. And neither one of them have the foresight and the common sense to be like, this is not okay. You know? But I also think sometimes for those of us who have been in really like traumatic relationship situations, that sometimes we have to see that we are becoming our own villains in our stories to appreciate what we have and to allow ourselves to move on. Because I think it's very easy when you go through really difficult breakups to start to believe that you do not deserve love and to start to resent any type of like emotional connection. Like, I definitely get that. 100% get that. So I think that's why, like, I don't dislike Tallulah. I just want to kind of like beat her over the head and be like, sis, shit or get off the pot. I also am working on a novella that one of my friends put me onto. It's called Her Vicious Beasts by E.P. Bali. And it is a fantasy why choose. Look, I'm loving fantasy why choose right now. I still love contemporary, but I love the fantasy vibes of why choose, especially because you oftentimes get mates with very interesting powers. And a lot of times those powers show up in their play scenes. So I love that. I'm only in like the first couple, I think I read it like chapter 5, if I remember right. It's only like a 160-page novella, so it's not long, but I figured I would work on that because it is a prequel to the rest of the series. But Tuesday, they were telling me that they absolutely adore that book specifically and that series, and they know that I love why choose. Ever since I finished Cinderglass, I have like been really on a fantasy why choose kick. I'm gonna air dry for a while, and then I'm gonna like diffuse my hair, and I'm gonna read the entire time. On one of my videos over on the main channel, someone was like, new challenge to unlock, reading a book while diffusing my hair. And I was like, you know, I didn't even think about it, but that is kind of dope. So I'm hoping that I can get pretty far tonight. Oh yeah, that's better. And we'll see what it do. the end of our reading vlog. I'm just gonna give you guys like a quick recap of everything that we finished and where I am in the things that I did not finish. Even though I struggled, like this migraine has been kicking my ass, I still finished 4 books this week, which is really good for me. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't get through books like that. So I feel like even though I was struggling, I did a really good job. Let's go over the things that I finished first, and then we'll go over the things that I'm still working on. First things first, Reclaim Me by J.L. Seegars. Y'all need to go read that. Especially if you are someone who loves second chance romance. I know that a lot of people don't vibe with second chance romance. That's totally fine. That's okay. If that's not your zhuzh, just don't go out here yucking somebody's yum. Okay? It was so good. Ray and Hunter's story was soul crushing. They have both experienced so much loss, experienced so many different feelings of abandonment. We watched Hunter's journey with addiction, and Ray's journey with really finding herself and figuring out where she fits into her own life now as a young woman who is somewhat on her own. Even though she is in a relationship, he's not very much supportive of what she wants. He's very much, you know, I take care of you, you do what I say type. And coming back and seeing if they can do this love thing again, you know, seeing if Hunter is ready to do this again, seeing if she is able to let Hunter move on from the man that she knew him to be, from the man that she left, and being able to accept that he is not the same person that he was when she made the decision to leave. Y'all, this was so good. I felt like the pacing was perfect on this book. I don't usually feel that way about a lot of books. Most of my favorite books I still feel like have like really bad pacing. But I feel like this one, the pacing was perfect. J.L. Seegars woven perfectly those flashbacks from the past to what is happening in the present day. And I appreciate her because the flashbacks were relevant. I feel like a lot of authors put in flashbacks that just I don't care about. Like they're not really telling me much of anything, you know? They're cute, but they're not really telling me much of anything. And I often find myself skipping through flashbacks in a lot of books, but these flashbacks were so relevant, important to the story, and necessary for you to understand the relationship between Ray and Hunter. I love the dynamic between Riley and Ray. Having a mother figure who is doting and affectionate and allows her daughter to have her own opinions and be loud and be boisterous and, you know, just be out there and be herself. And the relationship that we see develop between Riley and Hunter as Ray allows Riley to be in his life more. It was so good. It was perfection. I would give this like 50 stars if I could, but it was a 5-star read. That was also an e-art gifted to me by J.L. Seegars and Good Girls PR. So thank you to you guys for that arc. And then my next 5-star read, y'all, I am so down bad for this book. It was so good. Look, I was already excited that we were getting Dulce's book. I was excited that it was going to be a polycule. I did not expect this to be so damn good. Moments that just turned me into goo and other moments that like literally had like little tears running down my face. It was so hot. It was so steamy. The relationships between all of these characters is just, it's done so phenomenally. The existing relationship between Dulce and Vex, Rayvar coming in to find Dulce and realizing that Dulce is also his mate and struggling with the feelings of not wanting to deliver her to Vera. And also trying to find ways to like bond and connect with her. Dulce getting to Solera and trying to figure out how all these people fit into her life and trying to prove to Vera that like she is deserving of love. Looking at Rayvar and Vera's age-old relationship that has been there for forever, and he has been in love with her for forever, and she just hasn't allowed herself to feel like she deserves the love that he provides. there's so much. Vex just, they are, ooh, Vex is just wonderful. Vex comes in and Vex is the glue. They are the glue, okay? Like, they keep everyone centered. They keep everyone balanced. And Vex is also like the dom of all doms. It was so good. It was filthy, like absolutely insanely filthy. So if you love that, if you love Monster, you love Polly, you love Why Choose, you don't mind a little friends to lovers up in there, because I feel like both Dulce and Vex and Rayvar and Vera have friends to lovers relationships. If you don't mind that kind of insta love thing, because remember, all of these people are mates. They are fated in some way with each other. You will adore this. You will absolutely adore this. This was a 5-star read. It was amazing. My only thing with this book, and it's not a writing issue, it's just a formatting issue that can be easily fixed. A lot of the POVs are messed up once you get towards like the last half of the book. And so like we have character art for each chapter. So this is the character art for Vera's chapters. Dulce has her own. This is the character art for Dulce and Vex. Yeah, but a lot of them, especially the chapters for Vex and Rayvar, a lot of them are incorrectly titled. A lot of Vex's chapters were accidentally labeled as Rayvar, and then like vice versa. So that's the only thing. It's just a formatting issue. Sometimes things like that happen, especially when you're dealing with multiple POVs. So I don't know if Maeve Black ever sees that. Just a heads up. I don't know if anyone ever told them. But this was amazing. I highly suggest. It's so good. I'm so happy that I picked this up. And then King of Greed by Anna Huang. This was the first one I got through during the reading sprints, and I really enjoyed it. This was like a solid 4.5 star for me. Like I said throughout the video, I felt like we needed to see more of Alessandra, and I feel like that really rings true with this book, as opposed to like what some people are saying about Reclaim Me from J.L. Seegars. I say that because Alessandra as a character does not take up a lot of space on the page. Alessandra is probably one of the most cookie cutter characters that I think I've read from Anna Huang. We have Ava from Twisted Love, who has like her really, really dark, like freaky past, and we get like these really deep psychological aspects from her. We have Jules, who was really fiery, and like you can't not know a lot about Jules, because Jules is Jules, you know? And even in the Kings of Sin series, the women in this book so far, they have like they still have very bold personalities. Like even when they do seem a little bit more meek, they have more bold personalities. The thing about Alessandra is that her personality over time has been so wrapped around being Dominic's wife that we need to see her becoming someone else, you know? And even though I think this book was great, I don't think we got enough of Alessandra like seeing her on her own journey. And I know that we got some of that even in King of Pride, you know? If you read King of Pride, you know. But I feel like we needed to see more instead of being told so much about that. I felt like for Reclaim Me, we didn't need that because Ray took up so much space on the page. We understood her, who she was as a character. We didn't need to flesh that out, you know? But I feel the exact opposite for Alessandra. So this was a 4.5 star read for me. I felt like it was really, really great. And there were aspects of this that I think a lot of people don't appreciate. I'm going to do a full review on this book to talk about those things. Come here, baby. But yeah, this was really, really good. I enjoyed it. All right, y'all. And then last but not least, I did finish Untouchable by Shon. I actually really ended up enjoying this book. I wasn't sure where Shon was going to take us, but it's like the more you read, the more you really do understand. This is a best friends to friends with benefits to lovers story. We have Tallulah and Pierre. when we're introduced to Tallulah, she is scrolling through Instagram and she realizes that her boyfriend just posted an announcement that he just got married. He was supposed to be on a vacation and he was actually with his main chick getting married. And she rushes over to Pierre's and she just falls apart. And he's like, it's okay. I have you. I've got you. And that sums up their relationship in a nutshell. Pierre has always been that safe place, that foundation for Tallulah. And in her trying to get back into the swing of things, they come up with this friends with benefits situation. But the thing with Tallulah is that she has her own rules, right? She does not let men stay over. She doesn't get too intimate with them. She avoids anything that seems like love and relationships at any cost, right? Y'all hear Cop over there crying. He wants his dad. That's how he cries when he wants his dad. I don't quite remember what I was saying. We're having a moment with the dogs. So things kind of come to a head with Tallulah and Pierre, because Pierre is very vocal about the love that he has for Tallulah, and Tallulah is very steadfast in those rules, and she refused to accept any kind of love. And it's really frustrating, and I had some heat from my girl Tallulah, because I feel like, and this is me as a boundaries girl, as somebody who especially enjoys certain proclivities, safe words and all that. I'm very much, once there is a certain line that we have reached, it's gone too far. And even though I think that them starting their friends with benefit situation was a bad idea in general, I think Pierre was just desperate to get as close as he could to her as possible. But the moment that man said, I love you the first time, everything should have went, that should have been it. That should have been the line. Hey, come in here and sit. That should have been the line. And she wanted to continue to have that closeness and that, hi, baby, that physical bond with Pierre, while also continuing to deny him any comfort in return, any sense of security or safety in their bond and their relationship. And so I had a little bit of smoke for Tallulah, but one thing I appreciate about the way Shon developed these characters is that Tallulah acknowledges her bullshit. She knows that she's full of shit, and she acknowledges it and she deals with it. There are parts in this book where, for both characters, I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you say that? Like, why would we even go there? But they acknowledge it, and they acknowledge the fact that they're being childish, If you enjoy friends to lovers, friends with benefits, romance situations, I think you will enjoy this. This is a Black romance. It's super duper short, but I feel like we deal with a lot of feelings and emotions and all of the yummy ooey gooey things with perfectly within the very few pages that are in this book. It was so good. It was so well developed. I really enjoyed this. I need to read more of Shon. She just came out with a book called Just Right. It is based on Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and it is poly. People are raving about that book, so I need to get my hands on it because y'all already know. So I'm excited to continue getting into more of Shon's work. Shon is one of those authors that's been on my shelf for a minute, but I just haven't been able to I haven't homed in on picking up her books. Shon and Christina C. Jones are two authors that I want to read more of their backlists. So we'll see. I might be able to get through some more things before the end of this year, but this was bomb. I would give it a solid 4 stars. All right, and then the books that I am working on. So I really sat down and finally opened this baby up last night. And I'm enjoying it so far. It is hilarious. Book 1 in this was hilarious too. The book 1 is a proposal they can't refuse. And it is a forced proximity, forced engagement situation. And this one, it's a little different, but it falls within the same family. So we have Saint Vega and Lola. Saint and Lola had a little thing when they were in high school. He fell first and he fell hard. But at some point, things got dicey with Lola's family and she was forced to flee the city. And Saint did not know where she was. He just assumed the worst. Like, he just assumed that maybe like something had happened to her, but nobody would tell him definitively whether she was okay or not. And so Lola has recently returned to the area, and she's been working at a shelter for unhoused youth. And she has also been thrust into a teaching position at the local school. And then we have Saint, who is working under his family's construction site. And so they cross paths initially because of their grandfathers. Saint's grandfather, we met him in the first book. He is a hoot, but he is really struggling with his emotions because of the loss of his best friend. And so he's in this assisted living facility. He's all by himself, and he has been causing problems with Lola's grandpa. And so Saint is called to the facility because he finds out that his grandpa decided to load her grandpa up with prune juice, and the poor man is like going through it and is having to be on IV drips and stuff. And they are basically having out like this all-out feud in this assisted living facility. And when he gets there, trying to convince them not to kick his grandfather out, he sees Lola and he is like, what the fuck? Like, I haven't seen her since we were kids. Like, oh my God, you're okay. Like, you're alive, all of this. But things kind of get tense because she's like, yeah, but your grandpa also like tried to poison my grandpa. So like, what we gonna do? This is just the start of a complicated relationship between them, because I have the feeling, just based on the description, I have the feeling that that his family construction is going to end up trying to demo the shelter that she is currently working at and trying to save. I think that's going to be where this goes. So far it's so good. I was in my bed cackling last night because these two old men, look, the elders in this series really like hold such a special place in my heart, because they are just, look, they really are the fabric of this series. And the romance is like the bonus, you know. But so far I'm picking up what she's putting down. I'm 5 chapters in and it's really, really good. I highly suggest you pick up A Proposal They Can't Refuse. I think I put that as a rec in my last book and breakfast video, so go check that out if you have not. Right here, I can already tell you this is going to be a good one. I feel like this is coming up on another 5-star read. Book 1 was a 5-star read for me, so. All right, and last but certainly not least, I'm not very far into the Coven, but I am enjoying it so far. This is by Harper L. Woods. This has been like super popular. I know that this was released in new special edition formats, so I know that this is super duper popular. It's giving like witchy secret society school, like dark academia situation. I'm not deep enough into it to really understand what is going on. We're still like at the world building stages, but I'm at chapter 4. It is dual POV between Willow and Gray. But I think this is going to be like forbidden romance, like dark situation. But it seems like there's some high stakes going on in here as well. I didn't really get to sprint through this for this vlog. So you guys let me know if you're really interested in this book in itself. I can do a reading vlog specifically for this book. Editing Bree here. So after I finished this video, I sat down and read it and finished it in a day. Review coming, because that shit was so good, y'all. Review coming. All right, my loves. that is it for this reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love doing reading vlogs. They're some of my favorite content to film, especially since I can't do live streams right now. Like, I think this is going to be like my preferred way of just sitting down and going through what I'm reading with you guys and giving you guys kind of like real-time reactions. So you guys let me know if you really enjoy these. If you want reading vlogs where I just go through and read a specific book, just let me know and I can do that for you. Once I start back at work, because some things changed with my job placement, I'm going to have a little bit more time during the week, so I'll actually have more time to like rest and film. So I'm excited. I think I'm actually going to be able to dedicate the time that I want to this channel as well as the main channel. So let me know, what have you guys been reading? Did you read any of these books along with me? If you've read any of them, put your thoughts down below, and make sure you check out Reclaim Me by J.L. Seegars, because it was so good. I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on next time.